Good morning. I'm going to go over the floor system that we're going to design. Now, this is not a full-fledged floor plan. This is a floor system. Basically, this is what you stand on when you walk into a house. Now, this particular one is based, again, off that T-type foundation that we had back here. So these stem walls here are about 18 inches high, so they're a little bit off the ground. And this sits right on top of it. This floor system here. What we have here, we have timbers. All of this is made out of 2x6 timbers. Okay, and that again goes back to our, but anyway, based on our T-type foundation, these are 2x6 timbers, treated lumber, basically. And what is treated lumber? Well, treated lumber is lumber that's been pressure treated to resist things like bugs and excessive moisture and things like that. It can pretty much get wet without rotting. And of course, things like what termites. Termites do not like treated lumber. They don't tunnel through that. But anyway, that's what these are made out of. They're 2x6. Now remember, 2x6 is nominal. That's what we call those timbers, 2x6s. They actually measure 1.5 inch by 5.5 inches. What you're looking at top down, you're looking at the 1.5 inch width, okay? The timbers are separated on 16-inch O.C, which stands for on center, and we will go over how to do that as well. The fireplace, again, based off of this drawing, 10 feet from the edge to the center. So again, 10 feet from the edge to the center of the fireplace. And the fireplace, we kind of cut that out. And again, I'll go over that with you and show you the method for doing that. Around here, these the boards that go all the way around are called band joists. And the boards that are in between here are called just plain old joists. Like that. Remember that any notes that you have, any leaders, your notes, again, 1/8 of an inch, not 3/16 of an inch. Make sure you accurately measure them at 1/8 of an inch. All capitals. Make sure your leaders must have at least at least 2 segments. Here, this one has 3, and one of those segments must consist of a 45-degree angle for the line. And that's to keep them from getting confused with any of the other important lines that are going to be on our drawing. This is called a call out. I'm going to go over how to do a call out. What this particular call out does is it just shows a close-up of the structure of our members. And if you look here, it's very important that we do structure it this way. We want the longest side, the 18-foot side, to run continuously 18 feet. Okay, so it would fit together with the boards just like this. These boards are actually fit between this joist and this joist. Okay, so those 2 horizontal joists there, these boards actually fit between them. Okay, now also remember that, of course, all the bordering and the title block here, it also gets put on there. This is 2 inches from here to here. This is 3 inches from here to here. Each one of these is 1/2 of an inch for these text cells. The text inside of the cells is 1/4 of an inch. This is 1/2 of an inch. This is our logo. And of course, it can be any size you want, but we're going to do ours at 1/2 of an inch. And again, remember, all of your text is 1/8 of an inch. The text for the dimension, okay, the text for the dimension, the numbers go above the line as I'm looking at it this way. Okay, as I'm looking at it like this, it goes above the line. And then as I'm looking at it like this, it goes above the line. Okay, so there's 2 ways of looking at a drawing, this and this. Okay, we don't look at them like this. It's kind of hard to explain, but just keeps everything in kind of a uniform system. Okay, and the way this works, this floor system sits right on top of this foundation system, and it sits right on the edge here. Okay, going all the way around, right on the edge is how it sits, just like that. And that kind of can help you picture why we draw some things the way we do. Okay, so let's get started actually drawing one. All right, I start my drawing by basically just picking a line to draw. And again, nothing's written in stone here. I might pick a different approach the next time I do this. But what I did in this case, and you can do whatever's most comfortable for you, is I just started with a line. This is my 18-foot line, and this is my 12-foot line. Okay, also keep in mind as you're looking at this paper, this is not the paper you're going to use to draw your floor system. Okay, you're going to use the 12 by 18-inch drafting paper. I'm just showing you this, demonstrating on a regular 8 by 11, but you're going to draw it on a 12 by 18. But anyway, back to business here. So I established my 18-foot width and my 12-foot depth. And then I just go ahead and complete that using my tools. Always use your tools. Now what I want to do is I want to get the thickness of these timbers going all the way around. Also keeping in mind my structural sequence. Remember, I want these members here, the bottom horizontal and the top horizontal here, to go the full 18 feet. But what I need to do is I need to measure those at 1/2 of an inch thick, just 1/2 of an inch. I'm sorry, I take that back. 1.5 inches thick, 1.5 inches thick. So I'm using the 1/2 inch scale, 1/2 inch scale. And I measure 1.5 inch. And sometimes it's good just to, as you're aiming this right here, is, put the line, and you have to sometimes get really close to see what you're doing. But put the line right here at 1.5 inches, and then mark it 0, just like that, okay? Now I want to do that over here as well, and it's kind of like making a border. There, I want to go to the inside here, not the outside. I want to measure to the inside. However that works for you as far as measuring, but you have to draw it to the inside. Some of these are a little harder to get to, but basically what I'm doing is I'm going all the way around and placing those 1.5 inches. Now that I've placed all of my marks for making the width of my lumber, I'm going to use my tools again and very accurately kind of line up with them. Sometimes it helps to put your pencil on the mark first and then move your parallel bar to that location. Okay, so those are my two 18-foot pieces. Remember, I said I wanted them to go all the way through to the end. Okay, and next I'm going to draw the side pieces based on the marks that I had already made. And these are going to be on the inside of the top and bottom horizontal members. Okay, so now I have my thickness all the way around, 1.5 inches. And then from here, what I'm going to do is just fill in the rest of the timbers that go in here. Remember, I said they're 16-inch on center. So how do I do that exactly? Okay, now after I draw my perimeter and get my perimeter done, I want to come in here and start drawing on my interior, or the parts, the members that are going to be inside of this box sort of thing that I'm drawing here. And actually, this is the style of this is called a box seal because it sort of forms a box and what have you. And another name for it too is also platform system, as far as the building system in general, because this forms a platform of the floor that everything else will be built upon. Anyhow, when I do this, I want to measure these at 16 inches on center. So I basically take my ruler and I set it up for 0 right here on the edge because I'm measuring from this outer edge. And I measure 12 inches here. And what I want to do is move my scale a little bit to the right, to the left. I want to add 4 inches to that 12 right over here, and that'll be 16 inches. And as you see here, that lines up right there. You can probably see my little tick marks. And what I do is I just keep going down, adding a tick mark to represent the right side edge of each one of those timbers. And as you see here, I've got tick marks going all the way down. I go all the way down until I fill it up, until I can't go anymore. 16 inches, 16 inches, and so forth and so on. Okay, now that I've got my tick marks in there at every 16 inches, then I'm just going to go through and draw all of my joist. This is just one side of my joist, just the right edge of my joist. And I'm going to fill that up all the way across. Okay, so I've finished drawing just one side of all of these joists that are going to go into this floor system. And as you notice, if you look down here, I didn't draw the lines all the way through. They stop when they come to the edge of this joist right there. They don't go all the way through the joist. They just come to the edge because these joists are fitting inside of these rim joists. Okay, now here's how you get the opposite side of these joists. Is use a clean sheet of paper, and you make sure you hold it down nicely and firmly, and you don't want it to move at all, one bit. And you mark the outside right there, and you mark the outside of that rim joist onto the paper. Then you come over here and you mark that next joist at 16 inches. Okay, now you can actually go all the way down and continue doing that like so, or you can just do a few of them and use it like this. Now once I get some drawn on there, or I can go ahead and draw all of them on there, I'm going to move it over to the inside right here. See, I'm going to move that tick mark all the way to the inside of that joist. Okay, now that is going to give me the opposite side of all these other joists. And I'm just going to put a tick mark on each one of those. Okay, now that I've put those tick marks down to mark the opposite side of those joists, I'm going to use my tools and finish drawing them in. And as you see, again, I do not go all the way through. That one's a little bit off. I'm going to have to check my bar to make sure my bar is straight. Okay, but I just draw them all the way through, and then there you go. You just do that all the way down until you get all of them done and you get all your joists drawn. One trick that I'd like to show you here, and you see I messed up on a couple of them already, but one trick that kind of helps prevent some of these mess ups here is, you see your tick mark, is you put your pencil right there on the tick mark and then meet your triangle up with it. Okay, and then you draw the joist. Okay, now I've got all my joists drawn, and as you see, they're all 16 inches on center until I get to this very end, and there's just a little space right there between those two, which is perfectly fine. You just want to make sure you fill up every gap that is 16 inches or anything that's over 16 inches. You must not have any space in here larger than 16 inches on center. So even if it comes to the end and you got this one right here, which is about 3 inches, that's perfectly fine, just as long as you fill it up. Okay, next I want to cut out my fireplace. I'm going to use my foundation plan, okay, 10 feet to the center. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Again, using the 1/2 inch scale, I'm measuring from the very edge. Okay, from the edge up to 10 feet. And I'm going to mark that with a construction line. Okay, just a very light construction line marking the center. Now, I know that the width of that fireplace is 2 feet, so I'm going to measure 1 foot to each side. 1 foot there, and then 1 foot over here. And I'm going to draw those lines, which are still construction lines, but I might make them a little bit heavier. Okay. Now, going back here, I know that this from here to here is 1 foot. I know that from here to here is 8 inches because my stem wall is 8 inches wide. So I'm going to add 8 inches to 12 inches and come up with 20 inches. I don't need to worry about this right here because the floor system is not going to extend out beyond the stem wall itself. Okay, so it's actually going to be cut to go around that section right there. And it's actually going to sit right inside of that. Those timbers are going to sit right inside just like that on top of that block. So 20 inches is what I want to cut out of that. Okay, and there's 12 plus 8, and I know 8 inches is about right there, right before 9. Okay, so I've got the inside framing part of that fireplace. Now I'm going to erase everything inside there. Of course, you'll have. I'm sorry. I need to mark to the inside so that I can set this on top of that fireplace block. Okay, so my timbers are actually going to sit on top of it. So I want to measure to the inside, 1.5 inches. Okay, and then I just draw those pieces out. Okay, and these, again, I'm not going to go all the way through. As you see how I'm doing that, I still want to maintain that same structural method of placing these pieces on the insides. Okay, so now there's your floor system. I just need to clean it up a little bit and then go in and put all my notations and everything on there. And I'm also going to show you in a second here how to do this little call out right here. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to do the call out on this little corner right over here. And what that actually is the little picture that's right over there is going to be like an enlargement of this corner. All right, so I have to kind of, there's nothing written in stone exactly about how to do this, but what I am going to do, I want it to be a little bit larger, so I'm basically just going to repeat this corner. I'm going to draw this corner using the 3/4 inch scale. As soon as I find it on my scale here, there we go. Okay, so 3/4 inch scale, I'm just going to kind of draw that corner up here. Okay, so now this is a larger representation of that corner. All right, now the way I draw the circle, of course I use my protractor here, my compass, and I'm just kind of going to eyeball this at first. Okay, and I'm going to go on the 1.5 inch scale, and I'm going to get it at about 1 foot, a 1 foot radius on that. Okay, 1 foot radius. And I'm going to go up on right here, just a little shy of that 1 foot. So I might want to get an exact measurement so I can make the other one match it identically. So from the very bottom, I'm going to measure up less than 1 foot so I can encircle that. Let's go 9 inches. Okay, so that'll be the center. That is the center of my circle. All right, so continuing on with our floor system, I drew this circle here. It's going to be my call out for up over here. Now this right here, this circle was drawn 1/2 inch scale equals 1 foot. Okay, so I'm using the 1/2 inch scale. It has a 12 inch radius. So basically from the center, it's 12 inches around. Okay, or from the radius, yeah. And then the center is 9 inches from this point right here to there. Okay, that's where I put the center. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing up here when I draw this one, except for I'm going to use a 3/4 scale. So using the 3/4 scale, okay, let's see, it's a 12-inch radius, so 12-inch radius. I'm going to measure 9 inches up on here, just the same exact spot that I did down here. I'm going to do it up here, so 9 inches from the edge to right there. That's 9 inches. So that'll be the center for my compass. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of drag. Now, all I do is erase. I need a new eraser. Erase all the lines outside of the circle. And then you're done with the exception of drawing the leader. Okay, so there'll be a leader coming from here. And of course, I'm going to erase all this stuff here too. Okay, and on this one, I'm not going to put an arrowhead because that circle serves basically as the arrowhead. Okay, so that is a close-up of this right here. Okay, and that's all there is to it. After this, you just put all of your other notations that I have on here on the original copy of this, and I'll show you that. I'll take a snapshot of it and put it in Schoology so you can look at that, and I'll also be reflecting it on the overhead.